Hello everyone, my name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thanks for joining me this morning. Just a few things before I start. I've got a Facebook page called Cards by Laura. In there you'll find all the cards that I do at my workshops and classes. Just photos of the all the projects that I do are in there, so you can follow along in that page. I've also got a large Facebook group called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. You're welcome to join that group. If you do wish to join, when you request to join, there should be 2 questions that you need to answer before I accept your nomination to join. 1, why you wish to join the group, and 2, that you agree to the rules. If you don't see the questions on the device you're on, if you're on your phone and you don't see both of those questions, please try on a different device, either your laptop or PC or iPad, something like that. You will get back a notification that if you haven't answered the questions to say you need to try again. In there, excuse me, you will find all the PDFs for the projects that I do, cards and boxes and things. I mainly specialise in fun fold cards and 3D projects, so I hope you enjoy what I'm doing today. The PDFs for these, as well as all the others that I've done on my YouTube channel and my lives that I do in this group, they're all in the files tab in that group, so you're welcome to join the group. If you're watching for the first time today, my YouTube channel is called Creative Gems. Love you to subscribe. I'm doing quite well with my followers in this group, my subscribers, so love you to join that one. And if you have joined and watched me before, thank you for coming back. We'll put that aside and we'll get started. Now, I had a retreat here at my home a couple of weeks ago, and we did 10 projects over 2 days. I had 10 ladies here, plus my crafting buddy that helped me along. We did a couple of boxes and we did 8 fun fold cards. Everything was prepped and cut for them. So all they had to do was assemble. We had so much fun. We had some games and we had prizes and all sorts of things. This is one of the projects we did. It was a hexagonal box, and I'll show you inside. It's just like that. Oh, I noticed I did put another piece in there, but I haven't cut a piece. But I'll show you how to do that. And it fits nicely over the top. Good for filling up with chocolates or any sort of jewellery. Nice bundle of jewellery in there. And you could put in there whatever you like. I shall show you exactly how we made this box. Over the next few weeks, I will gradually do a lot of the projects that we did. I have done some of the folds before on the fancy fold cards, so I won't be doing those again, but there are a few that I haven't done on my channel, so I will record those over the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that. We'll get started with this, and I've already prepped all my pieces to save a little bit of time. This is the pieces you will need, and I've got them all here. I have scored, but I'll go through the scoring with you again. So your base piece, which is here, I did start with one where I had the base a different colour to the lid, and I didn't like it. I liked it with it's all the same colour and same paper, so I've stuck with that. It measures 11 inches by 7 inches, and then the lid is the same colour, just different size. I'll put that one back on there, that's my scoring. The lid is 11.5 by 4.5, same colour. This is Granny Apple Green, is the one I'm doing today, and I've chosen a different DSP as well. The DSP for the base, there's 6 of those, which are these here. It's out of one of the new papers in the mini catalogue. So I've got 6 of those, 3 3/4 by 1.5. I tried to me it's not directional paper. I think the patterns go all over the place, so If you do choose directional paper, make sure you get it in the right direction. The DSP for the lid, there's 2 different sizes, and I'll explain that when I get to do the lid. There's 2 of 1 5/8 by 1 1/4, that's those, and then 4 of 1 1/2 by 1 1/4, that's those 4 there. And then the have I done? Oh yes, here we are. The covers, which are this one down here and this one up the top. They're 3 5/8 by 3 1/4, and I've got 2 of those. You could do 3, which I have put one down in there, so it'll be the same size. So you can cut 3 of the same size. Let's get that lid back on. 3 5/8 by 3 1/4. So it's up to you if you want to put one inside. If you're going to fill it, sometimes you can put a big bunch of tissue in the bottom just to cover up the bottom. Save you doing another one of these. And then the lid decoration, I've chosen the red and then the gold. I did change this here. I had it for the other one. The red is 3 by 3, the gold is 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, and the white is 2 by 2. And they're all cut from the Deckled Circle dies. So I've got the 3rd, 5th and 6th smallest. So this one is the next one down from that, and then I went 2 down for the white one, so you could see a bit of the border. I've cut some leaves from the top here. I'll show you the sets that I got all that out of, and we shall get started. I'll do the sets first, and I've got some embellishments here. The embellishments I'm going to use are the gold ones out of these low profile dots. There's petal pink and gold in those, so I'll just use those. The leaves I've chosen out of Peace on Earth, which is that leaf there in the dies. I love that set with the doves on it. And the little greeting is from the Decorative Trees, A Very Merry Christmas. Fits nicely on that that little white circle, and I'm putting some embellishments on that. So we shall get started. Just put all that aside, and I've written my scoring measurements on here, and we shall score. I have scored, but I'll tell you the scoring. We'll get out a scoreboard so you can see. We'll do the base first. So it's 11 by 7, and you want the long side at the top. I'll push that there, and I'll put it on this side because I'm going to go the other way. 1 3/4, which is there. Score. 3 1/2 is the next one. 5 1/4. We will move that because it's going to end up the other way. 5 1/4. And you will need the arm out. And 7, lots of scoring on this one, 7 inches, 8 3/4. Now these ones on the base, the DSP, are all the same width and height, and then 10 1/2 is the last one. But on the lid, that's why we had 4 and 2. There are different measurements. So I'll explain that when we get to it. And then rotate 90 degrees, so you've got the short side at the top, and you're going to score at 2 inches and 6 inches, which is over there. And we'll do the scoring on the lid while we're here, and then we've finished with the scorer. So we've got 11 1/2 by 4 1/2 with the long side at the top. And we've got 1 7/8. These are all different measurements here. 1 7/8, 3 5/8, which is there. You'll find they're all different sizes. 5 3/8, and I found the easiest way to find where the DSP sits is just lay them on there. 5 3/8 and 7 1/8. Which is over there. I'm just double checking the ones I've done underneath, make sure it's right. 8 7/8, which is 2 strokes before the 9, and 10 3/4, which is there. Rotate 90, which is one turn, and you go at 2 inches, just double checking, 2 inches and 3.5, which is there. So that's all the scoring we need to do. We can put that one aside, and we'll go back to the base to start. Put that one on that one. So what you need to do now with your scissors, when I get my decent pair, this one here, I'm missing a pair there somewhere. Oh, there they are. I have my everything in a certain place, and when it's not there, we tend to go and look for it. Bone folder. Actually, I got a new, this is a gift from, I got all these pieces. This is a gift from my crafting buddy. I haven't got the other piece. There's another piece that goes with all of these. It's a flat, it's a whole set. These are made from, they're called Craft Treat. They're made from a certain thing. They're not like a bone stuff. They're different. When you burnish, they don't leave that shiny mark on your cardstock. Silicone, I think they're made of, something like that. They're just perfect, and they give you a nice crisp crease along there. So I'm going to use them all the time. It was funny because my friend who bought them for me, she bought hers ages ago, and I kept saying, and then she said, oh, they're out of stock. And every time I messaged her, because I didn't bother looking for them, because she was going to let me know when they were back in stock, and she kept saying, no, they haven't got them yet, haven't got them yet. And then she turned up with my gift at the retreat, and she had them, and I said, you told me they were out of stock. And she said, well, I had to say that so you wouldn't go ahead and order them. So I won't believe her next time. So once you've folded and burnished all your score lines, you want the longer, there's a 2 inch, I think it was 2 inch, I'll just double check. Yes, the 2 inch section up to the first score. You've got the long edge facing you and the short edge at the top. This bottom section, you're just going to cut up each of the score lines. You're not notching this lot, so you're just going up to that first score line, like so. I'll just do it in order here so you don't get confused. No notching on this section. This will be the bottom of the base on this end, and the other side is the top of the base. Try and get right on the score line, not either side of it if you can. Try and cut to the score line. I find if you fold and burnish first, it's easier to see the score lines. Now, while we're still on this bit, this little end tab here, you're going to remove that, and you're going to just notch the end little bit there, like so. I shall get my little dish for my scraps so I don't end up having to pick it all up later. So that's that side done. Now rotate it 180 to the other side, and you're going to notch this lot. So you can either cut up the middle like that and then notch either side, or some people fold it, but I found with this one, I'll do that notch a little bit better. Some of them fold them like that, but I found I couldn't get right to that point. So I did individual notching without folding. But you can go from the side of the score line rather than up the score line and then have 2 more cuts. This way you're just cutting two pieces, 2 cuts. And you just go to that first score line. This is on the 1 inch end, and we'll do that all the way across. This will be the top of your base. No notching on the other side, just remember that. Oh, I did that one different, but we'll go this way. There's several different ways you can notch. And then this end piece here, we're going to do the same as the other side. Cut up there, notch that little bit on the end. That will be your tab along there. And you can also notch the side of this piece, like so. So that's what it should look like. No other notching. Now I can put this, because it's going to go folded this way. So what you need is a strip of tear and tape along this tab here, which I did get my tear and tape out. Find the end of that. Try and get it as close to the score line as you can, because that gives it a nice close closure when you're closing it up. And I burnish my tear and tape so it's nice and firm onto the cardstock, and we'll leave that for a minute. Now I'll just have a mouthful of water before I keep croaking. Might need to open the water spout. That's better. Now I can put these panels on before we put it together, because then it's much easier while it's flat. These are not in any particular order, they all just go across. So we can put those on. I'm going to use, I think my roller will run out eventually. I might just use glue, and my silicone mat will be just as quick. I know this glue is not real new, so it's not going to come out in big clumps. It doesn't need a lot of glue. Turn this sideways, it's easier to put it on. You'll have to just sit and watch me glue. I don't edit my videos, they just fast forward. I don't fast forward or anything, so if I've got to glue anything, you'll just have to be patient. If you're watching the replay, you can just drag through my gluing, so you don't have to watch me glue everything. Shouldn't take too long. Just trying to get them nice and even. I thought the red and green looked nice together with this one. We had such a fun weekend. I was exhausted on the Monday. I think it took me 2 days to get over it. Standing on my feet for 2 days. It was quite exhausting. But all the ladies had fun. If you are in my big group, there are a couple of videos in there of the retreat. And there are also some posts with the gifts and the projects. You will see this project in there as well. So join my group. Just be sure to answer the questions. If the question why you wish to join, it could be just that you want the tutorials. I don't mind. That's what the group's for. The group is all about sharing. So if you do join, be sure to share your projects. There's been a lot of ones drop off because I think they feel that it's not for them. So if you do make a card or a project, share it with the group. We love to see everyone's creations. Let's move that. Right, that's that one. Now, gluing. That is the bottom of my box where there was no notching. So we're going to do this top piece first. Now, the piece it's going to get glued this side, this is the tab at this end. This is the one here. You don't want to put any glue on it just yet. So we're just going to glue the other 5. And I'm going to do them, I'll do 3 at a time because then I can hold them for a minute. Just put glue on these 3. The one furthest from your tab doesn't get glued just yet. We're going to, I'll show you why when we get to it. I've got glue on those 3. And then we'll do glue on these 2. Make sure it stays down nicely. Those 2. So leave that end one for now, the one furthest away from the tab. So that's that. That will be the top of your base. Now you can fold this. Doesn't matter where you fold it. You can fold it across on whatever section you like. Pull that back off and then just fold the other side across. So even if you go back here, you'll fold it across to there. Make sure your score line lines up at the top with the other score line down here, and then that score line will line up as well, and it's all nice and flat. When we come to the lid, it won't work the same because the lid panels are all different sizes, so we have to do it a little bit different. So this one that I haven't glued, you'll see that's where the tab is in there. So we're going to glue it now so it is over the top of that tab and you don't see the tab at the top. So you can glue that one last. Just make sure it's the one furthest from your tab end that you don't glue to start with. I don't think unglue is the word. So that's that. That's the top of your base. Now to do the bottom, and I might put some tape on the first one, and I'll tell you why, because from experience on the weekend we found the ladies, I do opposites, so you want like that, but you don't want it. Some of the ladies pulled it too tight this way, then the shape of their box, it didn't fit the other part. It was all out of whack. So you've got to make sure. I'm going to use glue, and I'll put some tape just on this first piece because it's easier. Doesn't matter which 2 you start with, so long as they're opposites. I'll put a couple of bits of tape on this one, and then I'll use liquid glue. It's just to give it a bit of a start, because sometimes the glue doesn't stick straight away. You've got to hold it, and it's a bit hard to hold when you first start. So we'll put that there. Now we're going to fold that one across and fold this one across, but making sure, if you just eyeball, you can see that it's not too tight. You want to sort of keep it even on these sides and don't pull it inwards that you're going to make it too tight. So we'll take the backing off that. And then we'll push this down, keeping it pretty much out, not pulled in. So you're sort of trying to keep it at the nice shape that you want. We'll just stick that down. That first one's better with some tape on it. You can get it adhered without it moving too much. Then I'm going to use glue. So we're going to do 2 opposites again. I'm hoping that's not too tight. I don't think it is. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I'll put it on this side because we know that's going to get stuck down. Pull that one across, and then this one here across, and making sure that the sides line up and not pulling it too tight. If I go over this way and push my bone folder down in there just for the minute, just to adhere it down, we can do that all the way through. And then these 2. So we want some glue on that one and some glue on this one. It's going to get covered, the bottom, so don't worry that it looks a bit messy there. Making sure that the sides here are lined up, like so. Flip it over and press it down in there. And now I'll show you the easiest way we found to do this. Pretty sure that's pretty good. Now with one of these pieces, you can I'm going to glue it on. You'll see if you sit it on here, you may need to turn it around. See that there, it's hanging over the edges of the green here, so that's not right. So turn it once more. That's not right. You'll find where it sits, which is about there. You'll need to trim off a couple of sides, so make sure that the whole base sits on this insert, the extra piece. So I'm going to glue that on there. I'm going to leave that sitting like that and hold that up. I'll put the glue on there. I'm going to cut it afterwards. Some of the ladies drew a pencil line around and then cut it, but some of the ladies sort of cut it wrong and we had to get another piece. So it went back like that. So one edge lines up with the edge of the cardstock here. The point there and the point there is right on the edge, and we can glue that onto there, and then we will trim around it after that. Screw that down. I find it easier to trim with it on there. And if you go from this way, and you can easily trim that off. Trim that off. You get a much neater line around. Make sure the glue is right to the edge too. And around there. Much neater. But just keep turning the base until you get the piece correctly on. It's not a square, so you will need to turn it a few times. And there we go, all nice and neat at the bottom. I'm going to cut another one to go in there, and I'll show you. I'll just get a piece of cardstock and we'll do it now. I've got that green out. And the size was 3 5/8 by 3 1/4, and I'll change my PDF to 3 5/8 by 3 1/4. And what I'm going to do with this one is draw a pencil line. So I've got that there, like so. I'm going to put my hand down in there so it keeps it straight. I'll get my pencil and I'm going to draw where I've got to cut. That one's fine. And when I cut, excuse my head, when I cut, I'm going to cut inside the pencil line, because see, that needs a little bit more glue in there. I can see it holding up like so. Because it's inside there, you need it a little bit smaller, so I'm going to come in probably a smidge and cut inside that, because once you get it in there you won't get it out, so it's better to have it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to glue it first before I drop it in, because I know it's not going to come out. Go there. Actually, I can tell by the, it's only going to go in a certain way, and that's going to be a little bit big. So I'm going to cut some more off that before I glue it. That looks better. I'll cut a little bit more off this side. Just a little bit of playing around with that one if you want to put something inside. And I know that's going to go in there, I hope. I'm going to cut a little bit more off. It's better to have it too small or too in further than too big, because if it's too big it's going to bubble up in there. That's going, whoops, hopefully we'll get it out. Yep. Easily falls out. So I'm going to put some glue, just a little bit of glue on this. It's going to stay in there anyway. And then I'll drop that in. Just keep turning it around until it fits back in, which is about, not there, about there. And then push that down in there. Just neatens up the inside a little bit. And that's the inside. So we'll put that aside and we'll get on to the lid. Similar with the lid, we're going to fold and burnish all the score lines, and this time the those cut lines are going to be the top and not the base. Where we did the no notching, that will be the base of the top of the lid. And these panels along here with the DSP are all different sizes. So we've got, that will be the top, the wider section is the top. This here will be the base, which is that where it's folded under there, that's this little bit here. So we'll do it the same way. We'll cut up this one. These are just cuts, no notching on this one, on the wider edge, wider panels. I hope you're following along easily enough, that I'm making sense. I record my videos for convenience, and I always watch them back before I upload them, and to make sure it all made sense. Sometimes you make a bit of a boo-boo, but not too bad. And these ends here will get notched, because they're the ones that are going to get folded down. Where to put my little dish? So we're notching the smaller end this time. All the way along there. And this end little tab here, we're going to remove completely and notch each side of the tab, and notch that last end piece as well. So it should look like that. Now we can put the DSP on. Excuse me. So I've got 4 and 2. I can see that one. Actually, I'll put it on here because sometimes you can't tell which are the bigger ones. I can see that one's a bigger one. And I think this one at the end is a bigger one. So the two of should be the bigger ones. And these 4 in the centre are a little bit smaller. I think they're only 1/8 of an inch smaller. So it'll go like that. Your 2 bigger ones are on the ends. So we can stick those on. And I'll put that tear and tape on next. And we'll do exactly the same as we did on the other part, on the base, where we leave one section not without glue. I can see I've got to notch the other end of that as well. All the way along there. Just remember the 2 larger pieces are on each end. The reason for this is you want the lid a little bit smaller than your base. If we did them all the same size, it would be the exact same size as the base, and then it would not fit on that. The lid would not fit. As it is, you've probably got to turn it around a few times to make sure it fits in the right spot, but hopefully it'll fit correctly. But you always need, you can either make your base a smidge smaller, take a smidge off, or you can make your lid a little bit bigger. Either way works. But if you're doing a box, you don't want them both the same size, or the lid's not going to go on without buckling. It'll buckle the inside of the base if you're trying to put it on. So that's all of those. Now this is a bit wider tab than previous, so we're going to I'll put 2 strips of tape on this one. Just burnish those, and it's just this one here that I didn't notch. It's one of the notched side pieces. So that's that. Now we'll flip it over. So this furthest one away from the tab end, no glue. We can glue the rest on the small end, on the notched end, small end. These all get folded in. I'll do them all at once and then flip them over. Remember, no glue on that end. All these can come in. If you've got enough fingers, you can hold them all at once. Should have enough fingers. Like so. Just hold them for a second till they take. Now this one, when you fold it across like we did before, because these are all different sizes, they won't fold flat. So you have to pick it up and adhere this tab end, because as you can see, when I fold that, it comes over the top of that, so that's not going to work. So we shall lift the tape here, hold it up like so, and just line up your score line there, your 2 score lines. They'll line up with these 2 score lines like so, and down the score line that's there, just right next to it, not over it, but next to it right there. And then we can glue the last tab in. And cover up the tab. There's the tab over that side, and that's going in there. Now the easiest way, so I got the right shape for this, some of the girls were just doing exactly the same as what we did with the base, but I find if you put it on this and put it upside down, it gives you something to push down on. So what I did, turn this around until it fits on. You'll have to just keep turning it until it goes on, which is about there. It just takes a little bit of manoeuvring the first time. It's just a wee bit tight. There we go. It's just the first time you put it on, it's a wee bit tight. If you have a look, none of it's buckling. And we've got this base. I'll lift it up a little bit so that we can have something to work on. Just pulling it up a little bit. There we go. So you're going to go that way. This time I'm just going to glue them all, making sure that's straight across that way. Because this tab's wider, you'll see it's not. It's going to give a little gap either side there, because one side's wider than the other. As I said before, all these panels are different sizes, or 2 different sizes. So that can go across, and you've got little space either side there. And then these 2, same again. They're even because they're opposite with the same size panels. Put some glue on there, and as you can see, you've got the base underneath to work on, so you've got something to push on. If you do it this way, it's pushing down in there, plus you end up with the correct shape. And then we've got these two, which this top one, well, you could go that way. I'm going to put the wider one on top, and it's just a smidge wider on each side because one panel's wider than the other. So we'll hold that on there, and while we're here we can do this cover piece as well. Just keep turning that until it fits there. So I'll hold that up, put some glue on that, make sure I get the glue to the edge this time. I hope I'm in camera there, probably off camera half the time. I'm used to working at home by myself and don't think about that. Maybe should go, I'll just keep turning that until it fits right there. So one side of this cover piece should fit evenly on one side, then you've only got to cut the other sides even, like so. And then we'll cut those off. This top piece is going to get covered with the decoration. I find this is the easiest way to fit these pieces than trying to get the correct shape before you fit it on. Excuse me. So that's the lid, but it's going back over the other way. We can pull that off. It's a wee bit tight, but it'll work eventually. Perfect. And then I've got this, which I've already put together. And now I'm going to put it up on dimensionals. I've got dimensionals between the gold and the red, and I've also got dimensionals between the white and the gold. And I've just glued I've put some tape in underneath and put the leaves on, but they're up 3 times on dimensionals. So I shall get them. We'll put some more up and then put some embellishments on, and we are done. The red and the green looks really nice. I don't think that green is in that paper, but if you're only using the red and gold piece, it doesn't matter what colour. Put a bit too many there, but that's fine. It doesn't matter what green you use, because it's not trying to match up with any colour on that paper. That's all of them. And because this is round, it doesn't matter where it sits. I'm going to put it about there, facing that way. All done. Sorry if it took a little bit longer. Boxes usually do. I'll just take that off there. And we shall put some of these on. I'll use these bigger ones. These are my favourite gold embellishments. They're nice and flat, and they're so sparkly. Really pretty. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed that. That's one of the projects we did, a bit different to the other one. Hope you enjoyed that. And as you can see, the lid comes on and off quite easily. If you just maneuver it around, it will fit without any bubbles around here. I've got no bubbles around there. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll have a look at the others. I know I have done some of the projects already before from my retreat, so I shall find another one that I haven't done previous, and I shall do another one next week, and I'll catch you all then. Have a lovely week. Bye for now.